One day I hopped in a taxi and we took off for the airport. We were driving in the right lane when suddenly a black car jumped out of a parking space right in front of us. My taxi driver slammed on his brakes, skidded, and missed the other car by just inches. The driver of the other car whipped his head around and started yelling at us. My taxi driver just smiled and waved at the guy, and I mean, he was really friendly, so I asked, "Why did you just do that? This guy could almost ruin your car and sent us to the hospital." This is when my taxi driver taught me what I now call the law of the garbage truck. He explained that many people are like garbage trucks. They run around full of garbage, full of frustration, full of anger, and full of disappointment. As their garbage piles up, they need a place to dump it, and sometimes they'll dump it on you. Don't take it personally. Just smile, wave, wish them well, and move on. Don't take their garbage and spread it to other people at work, at home, or on the streets. The bottom line is that successful people do not let garbage trucks take over their day. Life's too short to wake up in the morning with regrets. So love the people who treat you right. Pray for the ones who don't. Life is 10% what you make it and 90% how you take it. Have a garbage-free life.
But there is a problem, and it's real. What happens when you want to spread gratitude, but everyone around you seems to want to spread garbage? I mean, what do you do when you run into bad drivers, rude waiters, mean bosses, bad customer service reps, pushy salespeople, moody coworkers, and even unloving relatives? What do you do when you're doing all the right things and then someone comes around and tries to ruin your day? What do you do about that? This is a real issue. This is an important question. And I have an answer. I call it the law of the garbage truck. Here's my story. I was in New York City 22 years ago and I needed to catch a train. So I flagged down a taxi, I hopped in, and we took off for Grand Central Station. We were driving in the right-hand lane when all of a sudden a black car jumps out of our parking space right in front of us. My taxi driver has to slam on his brakes, the car skids, the tires squeal, and at the last moment, our car stops just 1 inch from the other cars back in. I couldn't believe it. But then I couldn't believe what happened next. The driver of the other car, the guy who almost caused a major accident, whips his head around and starts yelling bad words at us. How do I know? Ask any New Yorker. Some words in New York come with a very special face. It looks something like this. And then he throws in a one-finger salute for emphasis, like I needed that. But here's what really blew me away. My taxi driver, he just smiled. And he waved at the guy. And I mean, he was friendly. So I yelled out, "Why'd you just do that? This guy could have killed us. He could have sent us to the hospital." And this is when my taxi driver told me what I call the law of the garbage truck. He said, many people are like garbage trucks. They run around full of garbage, full of frustration, full of anger, and full of disappointment. And as their garbage piles up, they do what garbage trucks do. They look for a place to dump it. And if you let them, they'll dump it on you. So when someone wants to dump on you, don't take it personally. Just smile, wave, wish them well, and move on. Just move on. So I'm sitting in the back of this taxi, and I'm thinking, how often do I let garbage trucks run right over me? And how often do I let them dump their garbage? And then how often do I take their garbage and spread it to other people? At work, at home, on the street. It was then I said, I don't want their garbage, and I'm not going to spread it anymore. Like the movie The Sixth Sense, the little boy. How many have seen the movie The Sixth Sense? Where the little boy says, "I see dead people." Well, now I see garbage trucks. I see the load they're carrying. I see them coming to dump it. And like my taxi driver, I don't make it a personal thing. I just smile, I wave, I wish them well, and I move on. Here's the lesson. Don't take personally the negative things you can't control. Take greater responsibility for the things you can. You get to choose your response in life, and it doesn't have to involve garbage.